It's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, villains, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. And to be honest with you, pre-season starts here. Aston Villa with their traditional trip to what used to be called the Bescott Stadium, now the Pallet Truck Bescott Stadium in Walsall, to play their near neighbours in a pre-season friendly. It's been going on for however long now, and it's a fixture nearly in every pre-season calendar. Obviously, a run out today after the most players just reporting back for duty on Monday, which is 2 days ago. Aston Villa have their run out on Wednesday prior to jetting off to play against Hansa Rostock on Saturday. So realistically, I suppose, you know, what you're looking out of this game, and it's the old cliche, you're looking to have minutes in the legs, you're looking to see some younger players, you're looking to see individual flashes, you're looking to see potential setup changes, slight setup changes, and so on. And really, this is fulfilling a fixture, I think, within the preseason schedule, but also it allowed us to see some of the youth products that have been coming through at Aston Villa over the last year. Obviously, that very, very successful youth team that we had last year, and a couple of them got to play today, and did not look out of place at League 2 level. I'm sure won't look out of place if they were to go on loan to League 2, League 1, or whatever, wherever their future lies for this current year. So it was a game of two teams, I suppose, really, and I mean that from an Aston Villa point of view, because Aston Villa start off with Gauchi in goals, Tristan Rowe, Emer Mascara, Torres and Moreno, Barkley, Bogard, Ramsey, Louis Barry, Caden Young and Jim Oiloba was their first starting 11. Joe Gauchi unfortunately goes off with an injury after, I think it was about 17 or 18 minutes, and was replaced by Philip Marshall, who was the only player to stay on in the second half. And the first half was a very tentative affair. It was very much if it was played in and around the middle of the field. Walsall probably had the better of the play, looked very sharp actually, and looked very together, Walsall did. But I thought myself that there was a few standout players for Aston Villa in that first half. I thought it was interesting pieces there and I know it's against Walsall, and I know it's our very first friendly, but the fact that Unai Emery played two left-footers in the central defence, I've always said that to me it doesn't matter what foot your two centre halves can play with, as long as they can defend. I've been very much on that, but I'm not as big on the have to have a left foot and have to have a right-footed centre half as other people, and that's fine. There's no right or wrong way to skin a cat in that instance, you know. But thought that was interesting. Yermar Mosquera, somebody that we've brought in from Colombia, brought him in at a young age. I think he was only 17, just gone 18. He played like 14 or 15 games senior football in the Colombian second division, and came to Villa, was loaned out to Real Union last year, and then came back and actually stayed with us in the second half of the year. He gets the nod to start alongside Pau Torres. And to be honest with you, I thought he looked a very good, big, strong, robust defender. Looked pretty okay with his feet. Obviously, could be a bit better in that aspect. A younger player, was a bit clumsy, ran over the back of a couple of players and kind of allowed them to buy fouls. But by and all, I thought he looked very, very impressive. He looked like an English defender, if that makes sense. You know, a defender that looks ready for not ready for the English game, but has the attributes to play in the English game. He looked like somebody that, I just kind of like the cut of his jib, and it's nice to see that, because Villa got him for half nothing, and obviously there was some really good scouting that went on there to be able to pick up a player like that and bring him to Aston Villa and bring him into English football, British football at such a young age. Obviously, he's also played at the Colombian under-20s this year, in the under-20 South American Championship. He played in a back three there as the central defender in a back three, and was very much the anchor point for their defense. And it was interesting as well today when Aston Villa played. They did go 3 wide when they were in possession. Very much. It was very noticeable how 3 wide they went when they were in possession. Tristan Rowe being on that right-hand side, tucking in almost. Well, I won't say tucking in because they were quite wide. Mosquera in the centre, and then Pau Torres going out a lot further left than we would have seen him at times last season. Maybe that was because Alex Moreno was there. Maybe that's an insight into, some maybe tactical change that Unai Emery is going to make to allow Ian Maatsen get further forward. Maybe that's a precursor to Ian Maatsen being coming into this team as the starting left back. Obviously, I know that it's too close to call or too soon to call anything like that. But, it was just obvious from that in the first half anyway that that's how we looked. And it was obviously interesting to see that Mosquera was being played as that central, the central centre back, if you want. I liked how he played the ball into midfield. One player who didn't really impress me, and he should really have, was Ross Barkley. It's not that he was poor or anything like that. I just would have expected more from him with all his experience in there in midfield. A couple of times he passed the ball to no one, got caught under his feet, and it was 1 or 2 times I thought Mosquera pinged the ball into him in midfield, and he just seemed like he wasn't expecting it. And that's probably all it was, because he's not used to playing with Mosquera, that something like that may have happened. But yeah, I thought it was a nice performance from the centre back, Mosquera. I'm always a big Tristan Rowe fan. I think he's going to get a very good loan move, and I think he just looks like a kind of footballer that if you tell him to do plan A, he will do plan A meticulously. You tell him then mid game to move to plan B, he will then be able to turn the sixpence and move and play to plan B then. And managers love that. I don't know why I get that vibe off him. I've got absolutely nothing to go on other than just watching him play football. It looks like he sticks to the assignment, and he's, for me, I think he's got I think that, if he finds the right opportunity, he could really kick on in a footballing sense. And it seems like a lot of lower league teams are looking for him as well on loan. So it'd be interesting to see what the offseason holds for him too. Lamar Bogart gets his start in central defensive midfield as well. Played okay, but somebody I was looking forward to seeing in there. And then I suppose really we move on then to the Ramsey, Jim Oloba, Caden Young, Louis Barry quartet up top. A quartet that I think is fair to say didn't work, as in, they weren't on the same wavelength in that first half, but that's fine. I'm not being critical for the sake of it. I'm just saying that, Louis Barry was leading the line. I felt that all he had to go on for a good portion of that first half was maybe that longer ball that goes over the top. Caden Young was impressive. I'm always going to be a Caden Young fan, I think, as well, because I just like his stocky build. He reminds me of, do you know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of somebody who would have come through the Chelsea ranks, whereby they're built like an adult at a young age, and they're a very functional footballer. I think that's probably doing Caden Young a disservice. Thought he did well. I think there's a slight naivety to his game, but once again, he's only a young player. The loan move to Royal Antwerp didn't really work out for him, but he's coming off the back of an England under-19 campaign, and his next move is going to be very interesting, because there is talent there. There really is talent there. You can see the pace, you can see the power, you can see his thighs, his calves as an individual from a muscular point of view and from a build point of view. He again is another person that needs to find the right loan move for him, so that he can play lots of football, get used to grown men jockeying the ball out at the end line. There was a couple of times there that he just kind of got stuck behind them, didn't know what to do, and needs to get used to potentially, getting crowded around by grown men, I think is what I would like to see from him. And that, once again, I know that's a small bit condescending, but you know what I mean. 30 games in League One, 30 games at a top League One team for him, playing on that right-hand side, getting the rough treatment, learning how to come back the next day and learn from what's happened, having that consistency of getting it so that he can implement new things here and there, I think is going to be really important for him. But I'm a fan of Caden Young. Jim Oloba, as well, another from a stature point of view is there. We obviously know that Unai Emery likes him. He's made the bench a couple of times last year. I think himself and Louis Barry kind of got caught between two stools and where they were playing. I think at times Barry wanted to be the 10 that was linking the play, but was playing as the 9. And I think there was times that Jim Oloba wanted to be the 9, but was playing as the 10 and was linking play. Once again, you know, two guys that wouldn't have had played an awful lot of football together over the last 12, 18 months anyway. So I'm not being critical of them there, but I just don't think that it was, you know, when we're talking about who stood out and who didn't stand out, the two of those guys didn't really stand out for me. And as I said, it's no criticism of anybody there. So then we hit halftime. I'm just going to come to some of your comments there first beforehand, but we hit halftime and there was 10 changes there, but some of you guys there, yeah. So Stefano says agreed that Mosquera and Ozcan look decent. Yeah, absolutely. We get on to Ozcan in a moment. Where else? Dave Dam says a bit painful to sit through at times. Walsall set up like a competitive match for them. A lot of intensity, a good test for some of the young guys and fitness boost in general. Exactly, yeah. That's all. Our guys were told to get out there and just run around. I don't think there was a whole lot of pattern play done in this game. I don't think that there was a whole pile of shape work that was done. I won't say a whole pile that wasn't done prior to this, but this is fitness. This is where you're going to want, you know, to push yourself to 80%. And these guys are sent out there not to go at 100% as well, because they will be minding minutes. They will be minding, you know, sports science side of things, making sure there's no you ease into this stuff. Because soft tissue injuries, don't want those to happen now, to linger on during the course of the year. But yeah, and David, this game is always painful. The Walsall game, because of where it falls in the calendar, a couple of days usually after we come back come back to train, is usually a disjointed and affair at times. But still, it's the only time that we get to see some of these younger players prior to them going out on loan. So you know, there is a slight little bit to get from that as well. Where else are we? Yes, I'm going to get on because a couple of the comments here are to do with the second half team, and there's one here that I specifically agree with as well. So the second half team comes out. Obviously, Villa go in 1-0 down. Flicked back heel from Harrison Burke beats Philip Marshall, and Walsall go in at 1-0. So then the second half, Andreas Garcia, TJ Carroll, Tyrone Mings, Yashin Ozcan made up the back line. Kamara and George Hemmings were the two holding midfielders, with Travis Patterson, Brad Burrows, and Charlie Pavey playing behind Lewis Dobbin in that second half. And again, I am going to say this. George Hemmings is a footballer. Is George? If I was to pick anybody that was there today, that like for me, George Hemmings would be somebody that I would be pushing to move upwards into first team. I'm not going to say first team contention, but I'm talking about traveling squad contention over the course of the next year. Does he have a lot of people to battle through? He absolutely does. We spoke about that with Barnechea previously. If a good championship loan came up for George Hemmings, it would be absolutely brilliant for him. This guy's endeavor, his want to be on the ball, and he's just downright confidence when he has the ball at his feet is brilliant to see. I'm a huge George Hemmings fan. Huge George Hemmings fan. He was for me the absolute fulcrum for the victorious under-18 teams over the last year, and he has traits that are innate. He has traits that are transferable, and once again, if he is given the opportunity, and I think Villa will look for a good championship loan for him this year. And even if he doesn't get that, I think Villa will have him in squads for League Cup games, for Europa League dead rubbers if there's stuff there. I think this guy will make some match day squads this year. He just fits Unai Emery like hand in glove, I think. So I'm big on him. Brad Burrows, I thought, was quite impressive in the second half as well. Just another guy that the club are very, very high on. I can't remember what age he is. Guys, popping in the comments there because I can't. I'm afraid to Google anything because I have a semi-stable connection at the moment, and I'm afraid to open any more windows in case I crash it because I'm aware that I was lagging the last day. But if I'm not mistaken, I think Brad Burrows is only like 18 years of age. Another guy as well. Do you know, he reminds me of that the same kind of build and running style as maybe a Cameron Archer, but obviously he plays on the wing. Very impressive. Was impressive at his age level, 18s last year as well. Yeah, just somebody that I thought I liked the glimpses that I saw of him. And I liked the glimpses I saw of him at his own age group as well, which was interesting. Charlie Pavey had the two chances. I had one chance anyway, definitely in the second half. Very unlucky. Went to finish past the goalkeeper, just goes wide. And Lewis Dobbin had that shot that I think he was right to take the shot, even though, you know, hindsight, you will say, why don't you shift it out to the left and give the chance to Bradley Burrows, I think who it was, that was coming up on his left-hand side to score. Lewis Dobbin has that shot, goalkeeper beats it away. It looked like a brilliant save in real time, but when you look at it, it could have done with being another 1.5 or 2 feet over to the left-hand side, but that's nitpicking again. It was interesting to see Lewis Dobbin, see what he was about, but once again, at no stage in this whole game did Aston Villa play with a recognised number 9, and that's essentially because we only have one recognised number 9 at the club. His name is Oliver George Arthur Watkins. You know, so it's interesting. And a lot of people might say, well, why didn't we bring Rory Wilson in this? Why didn't we why didn't we bring Mason Cotcher and things? Because those guys' chances will come. Rory Wilson has a redemption arc of sorts to do within the club after, you know, the standoff that had him stood down, the contractual standoff that had him stood down from action at times last year. Mason Cotcher is a young man who is probably is probably not ready even for that level of preseason yet. Not getting to the defenders there, TJ Carroll again. Just signed a new professional contract with Aston Villa. Looked very interesting. Himself and Tyrone Mings very similar in stature, which I thought was interesting. But Yasin Ozcan on that left-hand side, got up and down the field. It's weird seeing him with 56 in his, I think it was 56 was he had in his back. Hopefully we get an announcement of his number is going to be soon. I think he's definitely somebody who's going to stick around the club, as can. I think he will anyway, but has that shot towards the end. And from watching him, his time at Casipasa, from watching him, he has that in his locker to be able to just wrap his left foot around the ball and ping it in. He scored a similar goal to that for Casipasa, and this one just goes and hits the side netting, but got the commentators excited. There wasn't a whole pile to get commentators excited about in this game, but that did, and they even feigned that they thought it might have gone into the back of the net. But if it did, it would have been a screamer, and there would have been a lot of Yasin Ozcan shirts sold tomorrow when the new jersey is on sale at Villa Park and in the Villa online store. And we will have a affiliate code as well for that. I'm not really good at doing this whole, trying to sell stuff on the podcast or anything like that, but we will have an affiliate code for that. It will be live tomorrow from 8 a.m. in the morning, ready from when the shirt goes on sale. And the reason I say that is if you're buying the shirt online and if you use our affiliate code, we get a small kickback that allows us to, keep the podcast on the tracks. We've got a couple of upgrades that we've made, and as I said, we do have a labor of love that we want to try and put together, essentially a documentary of sorts that that's basically every penny we get goes towards that as well. So listen, if you're going to buy the shirt and you want to use our affiliate code, that I would absolutely be very, very appreciative of it. It won't cost you any more. It won't cost you any less to use our affiliate code. But what will happen is, your favorite podcaster, or maybe your second favorite, or your third favorite, or maybe someone you love to hate watch will get a little kickback for it from the club and from for that affiliate code. I'm sorry, I hate doing all that stuff, but just thought I'd mention it considering the new shirt is out tomorrow. But yeah, Yashin Ozcan is somebody we're going to see an awful lot of in preseason. Now, is there similar vibes to Kostin Nedeljkovic that we get from him? We saw a lot of Kostin Nedeljkovic in preseason. We all fell in love with him. We didn't see a whole pile of him again. Yes, you could say that, but there's a hill I'm willing to die on that will say that Yashin Ozcan has a considerable amount of minutes played in his professional football career already, and the only viable reason that you would send somebody like that out, like him, out on loan would be if he wasn't able to get to the pace or to the physicality of English football. And I think playing in the lower half of the Turkish league, there's quite a lot of physicality there too. So it will be interesting to see what does happen with him, whether he sticks around, and whether he becomes part of the rotation for Aston Villa as well. Yeah, so that's really it. Andres Garcia, I thought I did a small bit of pace on that right hand side. Another player who is who I'm really looking forward to seeing over the course of the next few games. Like there's a high chance that, I won't say a lot. I won't say all. Well, obviously all those players won't be going to Rostock on Saturday, but there's a high chance that you'll definitely see Yashin Ozcan there. You'll see Andreas Garcia there. You might see somebody like George Hemmings go. You might see a Bradley Burrows go. You might see a couple of those guys elevated to the first team, so to say. But a good run out, I think, just from a getting minutes in the legs point of view. Obviously, the result wasn't there. We wanted to see goals, and we didn't get them. But the coherency wasn't there, and that's something that's what these games are for. They're for that, to work on that as well. And I know that you guys know that too, but it's still worth pointing out as well. So coming back to some of your comments here as well. I lost that comment I wanted to talk about a moment ago. Yeah, it was Jasper's comment here. Hemmings in midfield and Burrows on the right look promising. That was exactly it, yeah. My thoughts exactly on that one, Jasper. Yeah, the two boys are interesting there. All right. And two people I know the club are very, very high on as well. Jude McCarthy says, Ozcan, TJ Karen, Mosquera all look good. Some of the kids got out muscled. Booba taking no shit from anyone, and Mings was Mings. Yeah. The outmuscling of kids. I like, you could see that there was a development and a build difference between the Walsall players. And you'd expect that from a League Two team. Like, there was one lad in midfield in the first half, and he was a whole call together. He had a very weird running style, and his name, I had it written down here, but I can't find my page. I wrote it down on, so I just wanted to mark on that, actually, to say that, the build differences from some of our kids. Like, put it this way, you put Nathan Borland in there in the middle of that in that midfield against that Walsall midfield, you would notice there would be a noticeable difference between the two of them there. But I thought that, look, that'll all come with age, that'll all come with experience, and that'll all come with proper senior football, strength and conditioning training as well. PD says, like the look of Ozcan and Mosquera. I wonder what the plan for them is. Two left footers again as well. I said exactly the same. Adam says Ozcan looks so tiny and small, and that's I wouldn't say he looked tiny and small, but from watching him, like a lot of people have been saying to me, he's definitely going to play left centre back. A lot of the Turkish scouting sites and stuff like that I've watched say that he potentially could grow into a left centre back in time, but I think that he's going to start his time being a rotational left back and play a left centre back as well. So he's going to be cross trained for both, I think, for sure. Garrett McDonough asks, could Garcia play right mid with Cash right behind him? Preferably, I'd like to have yes is the answer, and I would probably think we would see Garcia behind Cash. And the reason I say that is because we've seen Unai Emery want to play Cash for the forward when he's gone in that formation. But ideally, I think for where Aston Villa, the football club, are at the moment, I think we need to move away from playing two right backs on that side, and we need a proper right winger for me. But yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, TSR talking about George Hemmings as well. I just love George Hemmings. He's my favorite player in that under 18 team last year. Yeah, so consider me the George Hemmings conductor of the George Hemmings bus at the moment as well. Where else are we? Yeah, a couple of conversations there about Duran here as well. And look, Paddy's going to be jumping on tomorrow night. He was going to join me for this, but actually I need to see how Shelburne are getting on. Jesus, I should have checked that up before I ever came on for the stream. It was 1-1 at one stage, but Paddy's going to be joining me tomorrow. There's a couple of things we just want to chat about. Number one, I suppose, is just the kit release. He's obviously going to watch this game by then. He's going to come with his own feelings on that. There's just been a couple of things. I haven't caught up with him in an awful long time with you guys. So just to chat about that, I suppose, chat about how he's feeling after still now, as we come back towards football. Has he gotten the end of last season out of his system? Because I know that Paddy can be a bellwether for how some of you guys feel. And I know that I'm usually Mr. Positive who comes on here and talks about the next topic and whatever else. And, Paddy can be somebody else's bellwether. So I think that's important to have that dichotomy too on the podcast as well. And as I feverishly try and figure out how to win the Shelburne game. Anyway, where are we? Yeah, so Jasper is saying that Bradley Burrows is only 17. Is he only 17? Jesus. He's impressive for a 17. Laura Galloway asks, any idea how far away Ben Brogio is from being involved? I think that injury at the back end of last season just kind of hampered him slightly. Specifically when the under-18s go on and win what they won, and Ben Brogio was injured at that time, just allowed other people to kind of showcase themselves. But Ben Brogio is a natural talent. Again, the club think the absolute world of him. So I just think they want to get him right, as opposed to I'm sure he's chomping at the bit and he wants to play. He wants to be involved in games like this. But I think they want to make sure that he is 100% fully fit and that we don't end up flogging him too young, too early, and then him essentially having soft tissue injuries from 25, 26, 27 onwards, like some Michael Owen and those guys. Because unfortunately, we see that quite a lot with young players who aren't managed correctly. That would just be my, and I mean, when I say uneducated, I mean my guess of not actually knowing anything about what the backstory about Ben Brogio is, other than I know that the club are very, very fond of him. Where are we? Laura also says that Ozcan got Mings and Torres ahead of him at centre back and Matson and Dini at left back. Hard to see how he's going to get many minutes. Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't think we're just going to loan him out for the sake of loaning him out to just to get him playing time. I think they'll want to keep him around, and put it this way, at the turn of the year, or he might be somebody who gets loaned out at the very, very last minute when the loan deadline is closing. But the need for him to be loaned out to gain experience is not there. But I agree with you, Laura, that he does need to play football. We want all our players playing football, but there will be some players who won't play a ton of football. And there will be rotational players and get a couple of 100 minutes, maybe 300-400 minutes over the course of the season. And that will probably be some of the younger players. But then again, you say that he's got all those players ahead of him. He's only one injury to Mings from being on the bench. He's only one injury to Adina from being on the bench. And, that's still part of his, of being part of those match day squads, getting 10-15 minutes here and there. Like if he's in the match day squad as a left back, he is going to get time at left back, because we know that Unai Emery makes substitutions to freshen up the fullbacks. So I think I don't expect him to come in and play 2,000 minutes year one, but I think that the club could maybe want to keep him around. Like, put it this way, he's not a PSR signing, is what I'm trying to say here. I think that the club will actually fancy him to contribute more a bit quicker than they have some of the other younger signings. I could be 1,000,000% wrong, but based on the experience that he has in adult football, I personally wouldn't see the need to loan him out for considerable length of time, unless it was to get used to playing football in England. That's really my thoughts on it, but I say I could be 1,000,000% wrong. Right. I think I'm going to leave it at that. Jesus, I knocked a half hour out of that. That is impressive stuff. Didn't think I could get a half hour out of that game, but it seems that I have. And I wouldn't have been able to do it without you guys. So thanks very much to all 700. Jesus, 700 people who were watching. I didn't even check the counter. 700 people who are watching, who are watching this tonight. Football is back. It just shows 700 people on a Wednesday after a 1-0 loss to Walsall, where we played 21 players and 22 players. And 700 people are still interested in speaking about or hearing somebody speak about Aston Villa. That's how much we love the club. We've got a long season, a long, prosperous, and hopefully a really enjoyable season ahead of us. And it started here tonight at Walsall. And thank you so much for joining me. Going to leave it at that. Probably will, well, there's no probably, we'll be back again tomorrow because I want to chat to Paddy on a few things. So join us for that. And then we're into Hansa Ronseal, I nearly called him. Hansa Rostock for Saturday. And it's then straight on to the States then after that. So I hope you'll join us for all the action over preseason. Until next time, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy. And all that's left to say is up the